Matt Gaetz is in a nasty feud with a Republican lawmaker in Florida. And when two Republicans are going at it, you know it's gonna be super vicious, and this is certainly not an exception. So look, it all started when the other lawmaker, Chris Latvala, put out a tweet that was harmless. Apparently he met Reverend Al Sharpton and said, it was an honor to meet Al Sharpton. Not a big deal, right? And then Matt Gaetz took offense to that for some reason and responded with the following. Sharpton has called cops pigs, whites interlopers, Greeks homos, and Jews diamond merchants. So that is pretty disgusting. And so then there was a response to Matt Gaetz. But before I get to that, let me just say, Matt Gaetz has his own issues, okay? Especially when it comes to racial tensions in America. In fact, previously, Gaetz provided a ticket to President Trump's State of the Union speech to a radical right-wing website operator, Charles C. Johnson, who was banned from Twitter for seeking donations to take out a civil rights activist who has said black people are intellectually inferior to white people and that Jews generally should not be given important decision-making responsibility because of their neuroticism. So that's what Matt Gaetz supports. So it's fascinating to hear him talk about anyone else when it comes to their past comments. But nonetheless, there was a response to Gaetz by Chris Latvala, and he says, and you created a game where members of the Florida House got points for sleeping with aides, interns, lobbyists, and married legislators. Hope DC is treating you well, Congressman. All right, so let's talk about this for a second, because what stood out to me about this story is that obviously there are very different standards for politicians on the right versus politicians on the left. Over the last week, we have been overwhelmed in the news cycle with stories accusing Bernie Sanders of telling Elizabeth Warren that a woman can't win president, right? We don't know the context of that discussion. We don't know the details of that discussion. He's never been quoted by Elizabeth Warren. And so it's hard to even judge someone based on the information that we have. But with that said, on the right, you have them playing these disgusting games, right? And not a big deal. Not a big deal. In fact, let me talk a little bit about the point system. Latvala cited a 2013 tweet by Politico's Mark Caputo, who was then at the Miami Herald, that explained the alleged game. Legislators got 1 point for sleeping with a lobbyist, 2 points for sleeping with a legislative member of the legislative staff, 3 for another legislator, 6 for a married legislator. Okay, so this is the details of the game. Thoughts?
Yo, Matt, I mean, the moral of the story here, as you continue to tell more about this story, is that Matt Gaetz needs to stop cashing checks that his ass can't cash. Because every time he picks a fight, there's like a war chest of stuff against Matt Gaetz to go against. Like, I hadn't previously heard this story. It's just like, I'm very dismissive of people who say, all we need are just women in government and that'll make everyone better. I don't need a woman leading the Navy, like dropping drones or like launching missile strikes anywhere. That's not gonna fix anything. But like, this is what happens when you just get a bunch of dudes together and they're just being dudes and they're like creating dumb misogynistic games out of things. Like, it's the kind of thing that if you just insert more women into places of power, less of this stuff happens, or less of this stuff is able to permeate, so to speak.
So when there were accusations in the middle of a nasty divorce that Katie Hill was sleeping with one of her staffers, immediately the House launched an ethics investigation. So these are some serious allegations against a member of the House, and if he is in fact playing these games and sleeping with staffers or aides or anything like that, is there gonna be any type of investigation to find out if that's true? Look, I'm saying this because there is a double standard and I think it's incredibly gross. And so again, these are serious allegations. This is another lawmaker who's saying that Matt Gaetz was playing this game. Is he still playing this game? Did he really play this game? Is he sleeping with staffers?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question. And I mean, so what do you think is the genesis point of that double standard? Is it, because I agree with you. I just want to know
I have an idea.
what it's born
Go ahead,
out of.
I
have a slight idea. I think that Republicans and Democrats as like lawmakers and legislators sort of set the tone for how to react to things. And Democrats have like almost a conscience sometimes. And so when bad things happen, they're very quick to point it out, rightfully, arguably so, and say, this is wrong. Republicans are more likely to go, can we get away with this? Can we possibly save whoever's involved? Can we like,
just keep plowing forward and act like it didn't happen. And again, that's been evidenced by our president. And so it's like that as a technique is horrifying, but clearly viable. Like clearly it's a technique that seems to work.
Yeah, I think that Democrats need to take a step back and take a good hard look at what's going on and how, it's important to hold members of our own party accountable when there's wrongdoing, but don't let up when you see the other party doing the same thing.
Sure.
Because that puts us at a disadvantage, and in a lot of ways, because it allows for maybe in some cases criminality on the right that goes unchecked. And if they're gonna protect one another, we need to at least have Democratic members of Congress that hold them accountable.
TYT is all about challenging and disrupting the status quo, and so is Aspiration. Aspiration does not invest your money into fossil fuel businesses that harm our planet, such as pipelines and oil drilling. Instead, you'll be able to fight climate change with tools like AIM, the Aspiration Impact Measurement, and Planet Protection. They also don't hit you with outrageous fees for you to access your own money. You can even earn cash back and get free ATM uses up to 5 times a month. Head to aspiration.com/TYT to learn more. For a limited time, get 30 days of free TYT membership when you sign up.